White people, black people. You think they're equal? Think again! In this video, we'll determine the existence of white privilege. But what even is white privilege? A privilege is a special right, advantage, or immunity granted or available only to a certain group or person. And the argument here is that white people have more privilege than people of other colors. To assess the situation here, I'll be going over a video with the title, How White Privilege Works, from a channel called The Root, which from what I can see is a channel which has videos of black activists talking about social issues, with gems such as Amanda Seales' Guide to F-Boys and why you should stop calling women females. Very fascinating. With a description that reads, the blacker the content, the sweeter the truth.
That's gotta be racist. There's no way.
But I don't mean to prejudge, so let's dive in and see how sweet the truths really are.
When you look at him, look at David, age 9.
From the moment a white person is born, they're afforded certain privileges. While the extent and nature of their privilege varies from country to country, one thing's consistent. If you're white, society be like, you out here winning.
The opinion that modern white people are living substantially better lives based solely on race only serves to divide people further, causing more pain and hatred and no real solutions. Let's see what they have to say to explain themselves.
So, what's white privilege? In the words of Peggy McIntosh, a white scholar who started studying white privilege in the 1980s, white privilege is an invisible package of unearned assets that I can count on cashing in each day, but about which I was meant to remain oblivious. In her essay, White Privilege, Unpacking the Invisible Knapsack, McIntosh even detailed dozens of examples of white privilege that she experiences in day-to-day life.
It's good this old white lady is self-aware, because white privilege was very real in the 1980s, with white people having clear advantages such as higher salaries, better loans and loan acceptance rates, and access to better investment opportunities solely based on color of skin. I'll talk more about this later.
For example, white folks are able to turn on the television and see someone who looks just like them. She even details things like being able to find band-aids that match her skin.
I've seen the band-aid argument get brought up a lot, as if it's a huge issue. This lady is punching air right now, because Johnson & Johnson, the company which makes band-aids, has already released all-inclusive band-aids. But let's say all these pigments still don't tickle your fancy, because you're galaxy colored or baby vomit colored. Even for you, they make clear band-aids, which have been around since the 1980s. This blatant bad point makes me think that this lady is just a puppet, a mascot given a script to read by The Root, who doesn't mind pimping their audience.
Who are you? My name is a pimp named Slickback.
So instead of going over the rest of this crusty video where they continue to give outdated information and then finally ending it with,
So now that you know, are we gonna dismantle white privilege or not?
good thing this video was educational and gave me methods to actively combat white privilege. Yippee! Oh wait, it didn't. All it did was bring up problems, which is alright, but then gave no solutions. That's like baking a cheesecake, but without the cheese. You don't even have cake, you have crust or the little bread at the bottom of the cake. So instead of showing you the other 2 minutes of that terrible video, we'll actually find out if white privilege really exists and solutions to real problems black people in the West are facing. I'm gonna be real with you guys, white privilege ain't real. I can say this because I'm an immigrant and living in Canada for 11 years, I have never been disrespected or had my rights taken away from me based on my race. So if you're also an immigrant, don't think you're a victim here. You're not. You're just as privileged as the white man. But you know who really does suffer? Black Americans and Canadians who have been in the West during the time white privilege was at its strongest. Black folks who had to live through the era still suffer from financial privilege caused by white privilege. So basically, white privilege gave birth to financial privilege and then died a few years later, but financial privilege is still alive. How this came to be is due to something called redlining. It's a little confusing, so bear with me. Get it? Like bear the animal? Never mind. Redlining is a form of discrimination in which people are denied financial services based on their race or ethnicity. In this case, it's housing. A black family with the same financial abilities as a white family could be denied a mortgage in the 1980s because the cities would purposefully zone out black Americans into the high crime, dirty, and worse parts of town. And this happened everywhere. Even in my town of Nova Scotia, black people at the time were sent out to live next to a garbage dump, which is absolutely shameful. So now, what's happened many years later, the children of those original black families are still living in those same areas with even worse crime rates and an extreme lack of opportunity and wealth. So, what can we do to fix this? Well, it's very clear. We make black people more financially stable. Because remember, this isn't a race issue, it's a money issue caused by a race issue. Check out the statistic I found. Financial literacy isn't high amongst American adults in general, but in a study, black people answered 38% of financial literacy questions correctly, and only 28% answered more than half correctly. 52% of black people find in-store shopping relaxing compared to 26% of the total population. However, research from the Teachers Insurance and Annuity Association of America, TIAA, found that 71% of black women have had at least one expensive behavior in relation to credit card use, compared to 60% for Latino women and 49% for white women. Black women are more likely to buy expensive items. It's important to find a balance between consuming and producing in order to increase financial stability. I talk more about consumption cycles in my video here, so go check that out. And what makes it even worse is companies and media target these poor communities by convincing them that true happiness is materialistic items, such as Rolexes, expensive cars, and drip. And while the average white family in the US has 8 times the wealth of the average black family, black people tend to make more luxury purchases from brands such as Gucci and Louis Vuitton. So to conclude this, white privilege is dead, but its ghost is still haunting black Americans to this day. We can completely put white privilege 10 feet under by educating low-income black neighborhoods on how to spend their money to grow their community and to produce rather than consume. Always remember to love and respect one another, because at the end of the day, we're all one race, the human race. That's all, and have a great day, folks.
Real talk. Real talk. Real talk. Real talk. Real talk. Real talk.